good evening. Welcome to It's All Black and White TV, and this is a press conference reaction. Tonight I'm joined by Kevin making his debut on my channel, and by a regular in the house, it's Derek the Mighty Win. How are you guys? All right?
Yeah, I'm good, mate.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Guys, before we get in the show, if you do like what you see, please do smash that like. It does help the channel stay near the top of the search, and it means new viewers find it more easily. So do give it a like. Thank you. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, come and smash the subscribe and be part of this great community. Also, hitting the bell notification tells you when I'm live, have a pre-record or any upcoming shows. If you want to become a member, it's 99p a month. Just do that by clicking the join button. And if you want to make a donation, you can do that in chat by clicking on the $sign as well, where the super thanks, super chat options are available. Right, let's get into some comments and see who's in the chat. Mad Mag was first in. He says, evening all. Must admit, Tony, I'm a bit nervous about the upcoming week with us having 3 matches, just praying no injuries crop up. Yeah, let's hope not, mate. Let's hope not. Let's hope we've seen the back of these injuries. Let's hope we're on the mend now. Bia says we are going to win this. You heard it here first. I like your confidence, Bia. Let's hope so, mate. Holly says, hi, Tony. Eddie Howe spoke very assured in the press conference with the probing media handled it perfectly. We will rise above this Dan Ashworth nonsense. We will be resilient against the Gooners. Well, we were last year, Holly. We got a 0-0 draw there, so, let's hope. Paul says, evening all. Good evening to you, Paul. Julie says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Julie. Hope you're well. And Ian Fleming says, evening, guys, as well. And good evening to you, Ian, as well. I mean, yeah, look, the Dan Ashworth saga, we know that's going on. He's on gardening leave at the moment. For how long, we do not know, unless Man U can come to some sort of agreement. I mean, Kevin, I'm going to ask you because obviously I've spoken to Derek before and here about it. But what did you make of Jim Ratcliffe's comments the other day when he says we're being a bit silly apparently and putting him on gardening leave and it's not right and all this? Well, they should pay the money, shouldn't they?
That, and he's still our employee. He's made that decision essentially to go on gardening leave. Obviously, his head's been turned. And from within the football world, if I leave a job or get sacked from a job, I can't go to another club here in the United States for a period of time. Because then there's a stipulation where it's like a non-compete, where if what I've seen and what I've got in terms of documents, I can't use them over a short period, like a next period of time. So that's the same thing. It's not it is a garden leave, but I don't get paid. I just get sacked and you move on into a different club and you follow their philosophies, and it's a different idea, but it's the same idea of where you can't use what you've been doing. So the national media, the Sun, whoever, the Red Tops from the Manchester area, all the above, they expect him to go and follow the same remit. Now, coming from Brighton, where the data, the analytics, what Brighton use are American-based and American ideas of X amount of yards run and kilometers run or whatever it is, to pass completion rates, all your analytics, that's what they look at. And it's easy for him, like I've said previously in other shows and things like that, it's easy for him to sign players who are lower value. So the value then to move them on is greater, and he looks like he's done a great job. I think within Newcastle United, it's like we're looking for the next echelon of player. We're looking for the greater player, and he couldn't put that in place. And there's been conjecture in terms within the scouting departments and this and that, which I know about. So, look, keep him on garden leave. If they want to pay the money, they're going to have to stump up the money. At the end of the day, look, we're still paying him. And the budgeted that. So they, not saying they must have known that, like behind the scenes, you put that in contract. Say, okay, if you move on after a certain or X amount of time, if you move on within a contract, like any job, whatever you do, it's like if you're in a high level job, it's okay. Well, you can go on a garden leave, but you can't use documents, you can't use analytics, you can't use players. Now I've said to people, what if he recognizes a player that we were looking at and then purchases that said player for, say, Man United? Well, guess what? There's the non-compete. You can't do that. You have to go elsewhere. You have to go do something different. And we could legally potentially do something to Man United what they won't be very happy about. And even though we get 20 million or whatever the number is, it could be anything. Who knows?
Yeah.
So at the same time, not good luck to the lad, but I don't think he fully wanted to be at Newcastle United. I think he not a payday, but good Lord, if I was getting 28 grand a week, I'd be quite happy to take a payday and do what I have to do and set up a foundation in terms of structure and all the above. But now Man United come calling. Well, look, this is business. This is football. This is how it works. It is what it is. So we hold the cards based off of Radcliffe's comments. He's just made himself even look more stupid in terms of the comments that he said. So we're holding the cards even closer. We even hold the full house pretty much. So more fool you.
Yeah.
better the devil you know. It's like we now, like I said, he's an employee still. We can get another director of football in, pay him comfortably, and then let him just do whatever until the agreement's reached. I don't think
Yeah.
agreement's going to be reached. I think Enios and Sir Jim Radcliffe are, from what I'm hearing and from other shows and from NUC Matters and all the rest of it, from Mitch and all the rest of it, money's tight with Sir Jim Radcliffe. And so therefore, are you really going to stump up 20 million? Probably not. Are you really going to get Dan Ashworth in? Questionable. Is it just a ploy to get him out of Newcastle United because it's competition, because he knows how good he is? Or are you actually going to put him in place to your football operational structure?
Yeah.
So I know Jason Wilcox has just went in there, is a whatever he was. He's at Man City now. Looks like he's moving across to Man United. So I understand. Look, they're trying to develop. I get it. Even though it's Man United, they're trying to rebuild. Look, go for it. But for Dan Ashworth's standpoint, all the best, because that's a job and a half to get the structure properly right from academy level. Alex Ferguson done it by himself from the
Yeah.
class of 92 all the way to winning the Champions League, for winning everything for 20 years. He done it all by himself. He didn't need Irish football. So I think Ten Hag needs that comfort blanket of we'll identify players, you do the deal, but he couldn't do a deal for Newcastle United. And he got
Yeah.
the Tonali one wrong. He got so really what's he really done? So is it about him? Okay, now I went from Brighton to Newcastle United as a stepping stone to go to the bigger club to Man United. So is that really what his mindset is? And I think that's where it really is. Just
Yeah.
inflate my bank account, essentially.
I mean, I had a Brighton fan on last year on a preview, and he spoke to me backstage, and he just said to me, he said, "Don't expect Dan Ashworth to be there long." And this was last year, and I says, "Oh, why is that?" And I says, "Well," and he said, "Well, he doesn't stay long at clubs, and he chases money." And I thought, okay, that's interesting. And I thought nothing of it. And then when the Man U things come about now, and you're sort of thinking, maybe this guy was right. Maybe he was spot on what he was saying. That Dan Ashworth he's not hanging around, and obviously they're throwing the cash in front of him and saying, look, we'll give you more money than you're on at Newcastle. So he's thinking, okay, I'll take the more money, then I'll go to Man United. Plus, I know Jim Ratcliffe because it's me mate. But the thing is, if he doesn't end up getting the job and say they don't pay the money to take him, there's no way back, is it, Derek, for Dan Ashworth now? You'll never get back, will he?
Well, there's no way back in Newcastle, I don't think. But as regards Gordon leave and everything to do with that, Newcastle United will be aware now of all the potential targets which were identified under Ashworth's tenure. One of the other things to recognise about this, though, is that it's not actually Ashworth's job to find and identify players. He appoints a chief of scouting to do that on his behalf, on the club's behalf. Now, were there any signings which Ashworth was aware of when he was at Brighton, for example, that we then went on to sign? In other words, all of the signings that we've made under him, were Brighton seriously looking at any of them? With a possible exception, with a possible exception of Livramento, because he's on the south coast, I would say not. And the Bournemouth guy you were talking to, who said he doesn't stay long at any club, well, that's not really valid, because Brighton was the only club he'd been at.
He's been at West Brom as well.
He was at England before that, though.
Yeah, he was at the FA, but that's not a club as such. And
West Brom is a sporting director.
So well, a sporting director, right? Fair enough. So then he's progressing his career. He wants to improve, so he's moving to a bigger and better club, because he's obviously very, very good at his job. So why did Brighton want him from the FA? Because he was good at his job. Why did we want him from Brighton? Because he was good at his job. Why did Man U want him from us? Because he's good at his job. The big difference here between this move and his previous moves is we will be fully aware of all of the targets that have been identified under his regime.
The caveat to that is, though, he doesn't, like you, and to rebuttal that, you said he doesn't identify targets. So therefore the head of recruitment, Steve Nixon, identifies the targets. He just does the deal.
Correct.
So therefore he can't go, again, like I said earlier, he can't go into another club. Yes, he might have an idea of, but there's a legal issue with that in terms of.
Absolutely.
But not disagreeing what you're saying, but in terms of. If it was you and me and you, and you put me on gardening leave, and I know everything about your club and whatever it is.
Yeah.
I can't use your documentation. I can't use your systems and analytics. That's A against law and B against Premier League rule and all the above. And his laptop will be probably seized and everything. Documents will be deleted. All the above. So that'll be wiped clean. And essentially, in that world, if it's a business world, that's how it kind of works. You'll just lose everything and you get your box and you take your happy ass out the back door and move on. But I understand where you come from.
Yeah, but that's if he remains on gardening leave.
Right.
I don't think anybody believes that's going to happen.
Well, yeah, Derek, Jim Ratcliffe,
he still can't use them.
No.
Documents.
So what I'm saying then is, if he goes to Man United, and all of a sudden signs the players that our head of recruitment has identified, that he obviously is fully aware of, and then Man United, let's say, sign one of those, then Newcastle United will have a massive case for compensation from Man U for any of those players.
Yep.
Yeah,
and that's my point. I totally agree. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim Ratcliffe come out with this as well, and he said, look, he says, Dan Ashworth's a 10 out of 10 sporting director. He says, you can't really criticise, and this is what I found laughable at Jim Ratcliffe, and I just thought, well, he just said, you can't really criticise Dan for looking at maybe the most coveted job in English football as a sporting director. What a load of bollocks. I'm sorry, because look,
no, you see, I agree with that. I agree with it. Nobody with a half a brain can say that a job, an equivalent job at Man United compared to that at Newcastle United is not a step up and a step forward. Anybody who says it's not is living in fantasy land.
Well, I live in fantasy land because I think
it might be a step up, Derek. Derek, it might be a step up, but to me, it's a club that's had a lot of toxicity over the last few years, and
they're getting him in to sort that out because he's the best at the job.
With their fans, though, they're being so toxic, I wouldn't want to go to a club like that.
Well, yeah. Well, obviously, what you think and what Dan Ashworth think are different because he's decided to go.
Yeah.
He's decided to go for the sporting director job at arguably the second biggest club in the world.
And the money.
And the money, obviously.
Because that plays a part in it, doesn't it?
That's what we all go to work for, Tony. Money.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just going to nip into some comments. Ian says, hi, Derek, loved you on TTR, great fun. Bias says, I've been on gardening leave, soon gets boring. Mad Max says, I don't watch the Ian, but going to have to watch it back. Ian Toon Trader, I read lads and lasses. Good evening, Ian, hope you're well. Kevin gives you the 2-finger salute.
No, I talk to him all the time. He understands what that means. I love him.
He says, hope you're well, lads. Yeah, we're fine. Yeah, great, mate. Bias says, anyone who doesn't want to be there shouldn't be there. It's a privileged position. Yeah, I agree with you.
As is the Man United position.
Bias says, Ten Hag's an awful manager. He will be gone. They will want their own guy in event. Yeah, they probably will do, I reckon.
And that's what the director of football's job is, to appoint the manager, to appoint the director of scouting, to appoint the committee, anything to do with football, that's his job.
Ian says, Ashworth's a knob in my opinion. He can stay on garden leave for 2 years for me. Absolutely spot on, Ian.
Yep.
You know what? If Man U want him, they can have him as much as they wanted to sell. They wanted to offer us for Jesse Lingard.
Show me the money.
Remember when they put that ridiculous clause in, the extra 12 million on top?
Yeah.
Survival clause. Well, look, if you want Dan Ashworth, pay the money. Simple as. Pay the money. Tristan says, Bort's our chief scout. He's heard of recruitment from abroad. He's a guy Ashworth met the day before he was fired and put on gardening leave. Oh, that's that guy who's come in, isn't it?
No idea.
None of this proverbial he already knows the names of targets, and that's enough. Good evening, says Tanji. Good evening, mate. He says, the technical director is a poison chalice, in my opinion.
I'll do it.
He says, at Man U, that is.
Oh, no, I'll not do it there.
Well, I bet you would.
No, I wouldn't. I genuinely wouldn't.
Yes, Ashworth will clash heads with all the new and old guys at Man United.
Well, I look forward to what's happening.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get our popcorn out, make you win, and we'll see what happens.
Exactly.
Alan says, good evening, guys. Good evening, Alan. He says, I've got to agree, one of the biggest clubs in the world can understand Ashworth going, it is shit, but shit happens.
Business. Football
True.
business.
True.
That's
Yeah,
all it is.
absolutely. Ian says, Alan Shearer disagrees with you, Derek.
That'll not be the first time.
And not be the last time either. Yeah, so Eddie had his press conference today, and he spoke about Willock and Isak's fitness. He said they've trained this week. It's been good to see them back on the grass. It's been a long time for Joe, but he's a huge player for us. It's been great to see him back amongst the group. He's a very popular member of the squad. I'm really pleased for him this week. With Alex again, he's really an important player. He's trained really well, so we're happy with both players. We'll have to wait and see. We've one more training session and we've been pleased with their progress. I mean,
There's a
what
key
Eddie
little word.
House had to say there. I mean, you know, it's great to see that they're back on the grass and they're training. I think tomorrow's too soon for them. What about you, Derek?
Well, there was a key word in what he said there. It's a 3-letter word. They've been training all week. A-double-L, all week. And that says a lot to me. And unlike you, I wouldn't be looking to play either of them. In fact, I would rather start both of them. Start them, see how we get on, and then take them off instead of waiting until we're 3-0 down and putting them on.
Yeah, give them what, 45 minutes to an hour?
Well, as long as they can do, as long as they'll let you know what you say to them. Let we know when you're knackered, and we'll switch you around. And wouldn't that be lovely to have like half decent players to come off the bench?
Yeah,
especially if
absolutely agree.
especially if we happen to be winning.
Yeah,
that's a bold claim.
That is.
Well,
what about you, Kevin? What do you reckon to what Eddie House said?
It's smokes and mirrors. It's all. I'll say this, but this is actually going to go on. I do this as a coach, even though I don't know the team that I'm playing against, type of thing. It's like I know what players I have available, who's going to be there, but I know the shape that I want to play, who's going to be effective. I would start Isak and give him as long as he possibly can go. Maybe even change the shape essentially, but I don't think he will. So again, it's very hard to read into Eddie Howe's mind, but it's not in terms of what we're going to do, how we're going to play, but it's not how we're going to play, it's who we're going to play at this point.
Yeah.
I think the introduction of Harvey Barnes has been a massive boost because I think he's a wonderful footballer. I think he just needs to get minutes. It's like his little mini pre-season after his foot injury.
Yes.
I think,
yeah.
So you got to look at that. Then I think he could play on the left side. Do you play Miggy in behind the potential Isak or whatever? But what I know and how I coach is, I know Eddie Howe makes his training sessions very, very competitive, as if it was a Premier League game. And you see the pictures on social media, like, oh, this team won. And you see the videos of like, oh, the first team to 5 wins. I'm sure that game is one of probably the most it's probably more competitive than will be tomorrow night. You know what I mean? Because they want to win.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality what the players go in with. So if Isaac got through that today, and Will have got through that today, I can see probably Isaac more than Willock based on a hamstring injury into an Achilles. I can see that playing out. But who knows? He could go with the same. He could go with the same team that he went with the other day, and have both on the bench, but I agree with Derek in terms of we can't be 3-0 down then trying to get something out the game. I think we'll have to go and approach the game to, well, I said it earlier, I said on there, it matters to where that I've got a weird, odd feeling that we're going to get something out of this game. I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't know how the game's going to go, but I would hold on, earmuffs for my kid. Shithousery.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those ones where we'll just annoy, we'll agitate. I think you can go to 5 at the back and play a 5-4-1. Just will leave. Yes, it might leave Isaac isolated. That doesn't mean that he's going to run around. But when we get and playing a counter-attacking type of game, I think there's going to be a lot of shithousery taking place. We'll kick lumps out of them. As long as Bruno doesn't do it, and I agree with Derek in terms of he's playing more here than here in his heart. He's passionate. We'll love that, but he's being clever in how he does it. I think we can get. I genuinely believe we can get something out of it. I know Arsenal got beaten in the last minute, so yes, they're going to come out at us like and throwing the kitchen sink at us, the full bit. Okay, well, let's just play a low block, frustrate, agitate, quiet the crowd down, which doesn't take a lot because they'll jump on the back of them as much as anybody. You know, I've been to the Emirates and they'll jump on them in a hurry.
Yeah.
Like any fan would, of course they would. But I think the competitive nature of, because I do the similar type of practices, I do the similar type of sessions and coaching. It's competitive. You've got to win, all that sort of stuff. And I think if that's their mentality and they can get through that, pretty much kicking lumps out of each other. You know, I've done murder ball with like 12-year-olds where like Marco Bielsa murder ball type of idea where you just kick the snot out of each other within 18 yards or 36 yards and whatever happens. If you get kicked, well, guess what? Pass the ball. You know, it's that type of idea. Go and kick somebody. Go and tackle somebody. Go and compete. If we do that, we'll get something out of the game because I don't think Arsenal have that mentality. I think we've got their number a little bit in terms of psychologically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Based on what happened when we beat them, was it 4-1 and 2-3 couple of seasons ago or whatever it was, we beat them. Now we beat them at home again 1-0 last year. That's going to play on their mind. You know what I mean? So again, we've just got to be very clever of our game management versus how we play. I think if we have our game management right, I mean, put it in the clock stand, whatever, do whatever you got to do. And if we get a chance, we will have to have them opportunities to take them. Like I seen the thing with Andy Carroll and won it 1-0 back in whenever it was, 2012 or whatever. It was one long ball down the middle, and he just flicked it on.
Yeah.
And it went in the back of the net. Something like that will probably occur.
Yeah.
Well, that's my thing, Tony. This could be an exclusive for all black and white because Tangy's just said there, if Willock's fit, he should start. And if he's been training all week, I think he is fit. Now then, if Willock and Isaac are both fit, start them both, play a normal 4-3-3, but put Tino in for Burn. If Isaac and Willock both start, then put Tino in for Burn. Because what that means is when Willock tires or whatever throughout the game, so it comes off, you then put Burn on and go to a 5 with Tino, back 5 with three centre-backs, Trips and Tino as the wing-backs.
Yeah.
But with Willock in that midfield on the left, he's going to offer some support to the back four, which we're not getting at all at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, what will happen then is we'll win.
Yeah.
And everybody will say, oh, we've won because he put Tino in for Burn, which is nonsense. That's not why we won. We won because all of a sudden we've got players fit and players available on the bench to interchange with them.
Yeah.
But I'd be all for doing that. If Willock is fit, I would swap Burn for Livramento. There you go. You've heard it here first.
I mean, Tanji makes a point. Yeah. Let's remember Isak walked off the pitch freely against Villa. It wasn't as if he was hobbling. I think they've left him out for the past few weeks as a precaution, and I think he's ready. That's interesting. Because, yes, he did walk off that pitch. He wasn't hobbling or anything.
I didn't think he looked good myself, but
yeah.
And the fact that he's, had many minutes since, kind of would support that. But anyway, I just think just for to get bodies back on the bench, man. This is what everybody. You can't keep using injuries as an excuse. It's bollocks. You can't. And once we start getting our squad back, we're a match for anybody.
Mm. I mean, when you look at Man United now, they've got a major injury because Hyland's out for a few weeks now. So, that's going to hit them, isn't it? Alan says Gunners were poor against Porto last night, not a shot on target. Or on Wednesday night, rather. Yeah, Willock hasn't been rushed back, says Tangier, that if he's ready, he should start, in my opinion. But we need him to get minutes for the Blackburn game.
Yeah, that's a big game now.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, Eddie did go on to say that, asked him about Arsenal, Arteta's Arsenal. He said, look, we need to replicate close to our best performance in order to get something from the game. He says we've had some really good games against Arsenal in recent seasons, very tight affairs. Last season at the Emirates was really a battling performance from us. Defensively, we're going to need to be improved from where we have been in recent weeks. That's the challenge for us. Arsenal this season have been very, very good in every aspect of the game. Statistically, one of the best teams in the league, and rightly where they are in the table. So it will be a challenge for us. So basically what Eddie Howe's done, he's thrown the gauntlet down to the players and said, look, he's probably showed them that game. This is how we achieved last season against Arsenal at 0-0 draw at the Emirates. Our defence hasn't been great for the past few weeks. But if we want to stop Arsenal scoring or beat them, then we have to be defensively sound. We can't afford to ship goals like we did against Luton Town and Bournemouth. We've got to stay solid and be strong against Arsenal because they're a team that will come at us. And as Alan rightly said, the other night in the Champions League, they did not have a shot on target against Porto. Obviously, because Porto must have done a job on them, but it all depends how the defence do tomorrow, and that's the thing. That's the key thing, how the defence do.
But again, our 0-0 draw last year was with a full squad and with what was then the best defence in the league. And we haven't got that full squad now that we had to call upon then. Arsenal are not in the top three for nothing, are they? Because they've got a hell of a squad. They've spent nearly £1 billion on their squad.
Exactly, Derek. I mean, look, they've got some great players.
You don't expect to go. I mean, I do, obviously. I expect we're to go at the Emirates and sneak a win, which we nearly did when we got the 0-0 with all the shithousery. But that's what you need to do. It's no good going. If we go there 4-3-3 with the same 11 we've been playing for weeks, we'll get slaughtered. With Miley, Bruno, and Longstaff as a 3 in the middle, we will get destroyed. And that's regardless of whether it's Byrne or Livramento at left back. Doesn't matter.
So therefore, would you change the shape of the side? I would. And
absolutely, I would, unless, as I just qualified, unless if Willock and Isaac are both deemed fit to start,
play them.
Then I would keep the 4-3-3, but I would go with Tino instead of Byrne at the back.
Yeah.
So that Byrne is there to bring on, to shore up the defence, should we be in the fortunate enough position to be able to defend that lead.
Exactly. So I just wrote it down here, like 2 words: defensive discipline.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yes, like I said, Arsenal are going to throw the kitchen sink at everything, and the losing in the week in the Champions League or whatever. Yes, they're flying in the Premier League. They're scoring goals left or right, but who they played? They played Burnley. They played
Crystal Palace.
Palace. I mean, Palace are a show at the minute. Complete shambles. So it's not exactly they're coming up against the top echelon of English football at the end of the day, but they're in the Premier League, but you just never know what you're going to get. But for us, I think it's going to be defensive discipline. I think it's going to be collective. And again,
Dubs is going to have to be on form.
Say who?
I say Dubs is going to have to be on form because I think the only chances they're going to create will have to come from long shots. I don't think they're going to be able to play through us. The way
that's what I'm saying. That's my point. The defensive discipline and playing pretty much a mid to relatively low block in terms of playing on the counter attack. If you got pace, I don't think Arsenal are I wouldn't say best defensive team in the world, but again, if you can counter attack against them,
get it them, you've got a chance.
So what?
If you get at Arsenal.
Yeah.
If you can get that defense, you've got every chance.
And they're the best statistically from set plays, corners.
Yeah,
that's where they score majority of their goals from. They don't score them from open play. I haven't got numbers, so I've even within my groups and another coach, he's looked at Arsenal and copied them because it's successful. Well, why wouldn't you? I mean, they're one of the best teams that do it. So if you nullify them, their corners, their like get involved in Saka, get involved in Martinelli, who can not blow hot and cold, but at the same time, Saka blows hot and cold. Yes, he's very good as a footballer, but if you again get him, it's the intensity that we press, the intensity that we close the ball down. If we not kick lumps out of people, but do it the right way, deny. Look, I'll tell you straight up. I've worked on denying goal scoring opportunities for the past 2 weeks with my team, who's going into a tournament this weekend. So it's recovery running. It's the hard yards. We have to do the hard yards well this weekend. But is another caveat. Yes, you can do all the defensive work. You can do all the shape. You can do all the defensive ideas and the philosophies and the game plan, game models. But can we not flip the script and just say, okay, let's have a fucking go?
Yeah. Absolutely.
If that means, you know what I mean? Can we not say, hey, let's look, I'm one of these coaches where, look, yes, we can do all the defensive work. We can sit in, we can play in a counter-attacking style, but at the same time, put our philosophy on them. Can we not play with a high press? Can we not? I don't think David Raya is the greatest goalkeeper in the world. I think he's an accident waiting to happen. I think Ben White's one of the poorest right back / centre half, like our Dan Burn in the Premier League, and he gets away with it because of the other players in front of him.
Who I was going to say, who coincidentally was the three best defences in the Premier League last year, all had centre halves playing at fullback. Oslo had Ben White, Man City had Stones, and we had Dan Burn.
So if you get at him, I would love to see Ben White against Anthony Gordon and see how he copes.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's a double-edged sword. You know, what do you do? Do you go like literally toe to toe? Because when we've done it against the top sides, we've actually been
successful.
Very successful
with the resources. I mean, Pep Guardiola started the season when we had a full squad.
Yeah,
he said he set up at home against us with a low block.
Yeah,
because he came. His own words after the press conference. If we had went toe to toe with Newcastle, they would have beat us.
Exactly.
And if Joey Linton had scored that goal, the chance he had when he missed the header in the 8th minute, we would have beat them.
Yeah, and it's like we went to Villa the other week and went man to man, who were apparently one of the best teams in the Premier League at that point, which fair enough, they were flying and never lost since however long, a year and a half or whatever it is. I don't know the date, but we went man to man in midfield. If we get somebody on Declan Rice and stop him playing, but for me, the other player who will make them tick is Odegaard. If we can stop him playing, we'll be successful. It's just how and who, do a man-to-man job on him. I mean, you made Sean Longstaff get him on. It doesn't matter who it is. Just somebody. If you're close to Martin Odegaard, make sure you can't play. Kick him. Do whatever. Take him. Even my son, 14 years old, take him out the equation. Brilliant comment. Just take him out. Not literally in a bad way, but nullify him, isolate him in the way he wants to play, because he's a fabulous footballer. I would have him in my team, not the player that we type of need, from my opinion. But yeah, so if we nullify Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, we'll have a shout.
Yeah, absolutely. True Gunners in the chat. Hi, mate. He says,
sorry, you mentioned the Villa game.
Class. Yeah.
Go on, John.
Sorry. Yeah. No, I was just saying there. True Gunnar says the thumbnail's class. Thanks, mate. Sorry, Derek.
I was just going to say, everybody's going on about the Villa result. Couple of things about the Villa result, right? The first one is that was just typical Newcastle. When everybody had written we off and said we had no chance, we went there and turned them over. And everybody said, we played brilliantly. It was the best game of the season. We didn't. We played no better against Villa and won 3-1 than we did against Forest and got beat 3-0. We didn't. What we did against Villa was we converted our chances. We had a little bit of luck. And against Forest, none of that. We didn't convert our chances and we had no luck. So the actual, I watch all the games 3, 4, 5 times. The Villa game, we weren't great at all, but we got a result, so everybody thinks we were great.
Yeah.
And tomorrow is another Villa where everybody's writing us off, saying we've got no chance, and that's just typically when Newcastle come and say, "Is that right? Bang, take that."
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like typical Newcastle when a team hasn't won at St James's Park ever, and all of a sudden they'll get their first win there. It's just typical Newcastle. We've seen it many a time. Sheffield United had won a game all season until they played us, and then they beat us when Ryan Fraser got sent off. Again, typical Newcastle. Godfather says, evening Tony and chat. My question is, where the F is Matt Target? It feels like he's another Michael Owen. Well, he has been injured, hasn't he, though? But he got injured in that Man U game very early, and he's had a long layoff. He is on the way back, apparently, but he was at the darts last night, so he's obviously getting better, isn't he? And they were all drinking water because, the media picked up on them going to the darts, and but they weren't drinking, they were drinking water because they had water at the table.
Yeah, I seen that. That was very interesting picture, I'm sure, but I'm sure there might have been a couple of beverages outside of the actual publicized picture that was sent out. But look, it is what it is. Look, hey, I'm.
But also, I tell you what that shows: team spirit.
There you go. Exactly.
They're all there. They're all, and that people don't understand the value of that either. By the way, the difference between Keegan's squad and then when Dalglish took over, and all of a sudden instead of everybody doing things as a full team, split up into factions. You had Kenny's crew, the French crew, the Geordie crew, whereas under Keegan, they all did everything together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
that darts last night, I loved that darts last night, saying, "Go on, that's it, team spirit, lads."
Yeah. Well, it wasn't everybody, but those who could make it. You know what I mean? I'm not. It's like as a group of players, like, hey, fancy going to the darts tonight, and we're not going to get, we're not going to have a drink. We're just going to go and have a good time, get together. And even bloody Mark Gillespie said, who is probably one of the most valuable players in the squad, that he never ever plays, but he plays a vital part probably in terms of unity and a bit of crack, a bit of banter. It'll keep it together, and you know what I mean. He might never save a shot in his club history, but at the same time, it's I'm all for togetherness and unity, and I've got I'll run like one of my coaches back in the day, and I'll give him a shout out. He probably won't watch the show, but John Waldock, who was a scout for West Ham, and he coached me at Cranmerton Juniors. He said, "Run through a brick wall for that lad. You're together in this." And I was like, as a young'un, it's like, what the hell does that mean? As a young'un, it's like, what the fuck? I'm not running through that fucking brick wall. I'll hurt myself. But that's now when you get older and mature, he's like, okay, now we understand what that means. And I think that Eddie Howe has adopted that philosophy of like, it's a collective, not an individual effort. You're running through a brick wall, regardless of the result. We could get beat 8-0 tomorrow, but you're still going to run through a brick wall. You're not going to throw a white flag in. You're not going to give in because, Tony, especially you, the mighty win, that's unacceptable.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You have to give everything you have on that. As long as you give something.
Oft repeated, but there's no I in team.
Exactly.
No.
And just give everything you got. That if that's
leave it
what
on
you
the
have,
pitch.
that's what you have.
True Gunnar says it'll be a very tough game for us tomorrow. You will make it frustrating for us and rough us up, and we have to be on it. He's absolutely spot on.
Yeah, because we'll kick the shit out of you. That's why. And
absolutely.
I've got one of my best mates is a black cab driver in London, is an Arsenal fan, and I love the lad to death. Literally love him, and he's very frustrated with Arsenal and all because it's not perfect like the Arsene Wenger way. Now you've got the petulant little child on the sideline. Well, okay.
Wouldn't it be lovely to rattle his cage tomorrow?
And that's what I think. If you get to see, Arsenal do well when they're in control and he's in controlling calm. if you rattle him, that passes on to players.
Yeah.
If you rattle him and kick him, or I don't know, near the technical area, and somebody's right beside him on the sideline, and just 2-foot him and go through Arteta at the same time, that'd be a wonderful sight to see, because he'd be crying. Not saying that it would happen, but just to agitate.
Yeah.
If you agitate him, his team or Arsenal essentially don't do well. He's very emotional. Love it. Look, be emotional.
Yeah.
Pour everything out and be involved. Get it. Totally get it. But at some point, as I know, you have to take a step back, over like big picture idea, and say nothing. You have to be the calmest person in that whole stadium. And that's why Eddie Howe is probably one of the best at it.
How and Mad Dog.
Exactly.
Whoa,
So,
yeah.
We'll let Mad Dog do the shithousery and give him crap.
Exactly.
And then let Eddie Howe just stand on the edge of the technical area and just be calm as a cucumber. And that's
and if we beat
the thing.
If we do go out there and beat Arsenal tomorrow, hope this picture will probably go around the internet again tomorrow.
There we are. I wet myself.
Get that
dummy out and hold his teddy bear.
That Sky Sports microphone was quite close to a certain area, and I was like, "Oh, behave yourself." You might like it.
Yeah, he might well do.
Give him a little tickle.
Yeah, absolutely. Tristan says, Tony, when you're going to wake up and put the blame of our 10 losses in the league, losing to Chelsea in the cup, not being able to solve the back line, playing the worst keeper in the league? Fact. Look, Tristan, the thing is, in that Carabao Cup, Miggy Almiron should have been a bit better with his game management. If he'd kept that ball in the corner, then we would have won that game. And that's what it boiled down to. What we needed was an Alan Shearer in that corner holding that ball, because Shearer was the best at it. He used to stand in the corner with the ball and he would make the players come in for it. And if they wanted that ball so badly, they would end up putting it out for a throw-in or a corner. So, and that's what's about game management. So if we had done that, we possibly would have been playing in the final this Sunday, and we wouldn't have been playing Arsenal tomorrow. So,
we would be in that final if he'd done exactly what you said, versus going towards goal and put it into the whatever standard is. Just twat it out of play into the corner. It doesn't matter. Or get it up as high as you just do what you do. Dribble, run around, get lost. Keep a hold of the ball. Get a foul, get a corner, get a throw-in. Do what you got to do. But yeah, that was one of the most frustrating moments of recent history, we'll call it that.
Yeah. And I disagree. Look, I'm going to disagree. Dubravka's not the worst keeper in the league. Let's be honest. He isn't. He's a good number 2. That's what he is now, number 2. The problem is we are missing Nick Pope badly. I think the back line are, because the defence don't trust Dubravka. And you can clearly see that they don't trust Dubravka. They've got more trust in Pope. Yes, we know Pope's not the greatest with his footwork, but they have that understanding. And it's like a back 5 when Pope's playing, as opposed to Dubravka. So saying that Dubravka's the worst keeper in the league, I disagree with that in a way. Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't think there's a cigarette paper between Dubravka and Pope. We need a new keeper.
Yeah, we'll have to. I think Dubravka will go in the summer.
But that's by nowhere near the top of our priorities. But 3 or 4 down the line, we've got to get a proper keeper.
Well, Mamardashvili keeps getting mentioned.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, to be honest.
Who's it? The lad from Burnley? Trafford?
No, that's Trafford. I'm not I know you like him, Kev, but
I've only seen him a couple of times, so I haven't had a full look. Yeah. But he's
I mean, he's good for
young.
his age, and obviously goalies mature at a much later
Yeah,
age
yeah,
than
so-
what outfield players do. But he's not a step up for me from Pope.
But no, I'm not saying.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like an understudy to him.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
I think what we need is a proper keeper. I don't know I don't know who it would be, because you don't know who's available by the time we get round to being in the fortunate enough position to be looking at a top class goalie and paying big money for him. But people have shown over the past. Everybody thought Cloughie was mad. Pay £1 million for Peter Shilton. Look what he went on to do.
absolutely.
Yeah. Tamji says West Ham won at the Emirates because they had a go.
Yeah.
And
Well,
BS
West
says
Ham
nobody thought we could
won at
beat
the
Villa.
Emirates because Arsenal were terrible that night. They were absolutely atrocious.
Well, that's just
Not to say West Ham didn't do well, but Arsenal were poor. I hope Arsenal play against us the way they played against West Ham.
Just got to get about them. Just get about them. Make it difficult. Make it awkward.
Yeah.
Get about them. Get in the face.
But we've got to keep that shape in the middle.
Oh yeah, you can do it. You can do that. You just got to be clever about how you do it. That's
go on, BS.
Yeah, says every time someone says Dan Burn, Derek picks up. It's like when someone knocks at your door and your dog thinks it's for him.
Well, Beer, you've heard it here first tonight when I've said, given certain circumstances, I would play Tino instead of Burn. That's the first time I've ever said that.
Oh, bloody hell. You feeling all right?
Well, I said it earlier on, Ken. If
do you think you need your medication?
If Isaac and Willick are both fit enough to be on the bench, to me they should be fit enough to play, and I would start them both.
For you to say that it's massive, Derek, and just proves not taking your meds is working.
Tony, we need like the Sky Sports News breaking banner, like the yellow thingy across Derek's.
What's that, sorry, Kev?
No, I'm just saying the Sky Sports News breaking news banner that he dampened.
There you go, breaking news.
Derek says
breaking news.
The mighty win, says Tino Falcon. only under very extreme circumstances.
Well, this is an extreme circumstance.
It absolutely is. I agree.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. That was brilliant.
Goldfather says, mate, great grandfather would have loved Derek.
Well, I replied to Goldfather. I said I knew him well.
Oh, jeez.
Oh God, you've got to laugh, haven't you?
It's Newcastle United. You can't do anything but laugh, but and love them at the same time. And
when you've seen the shit I've seen, I tell you what, people complain about what you know, it's just mind blowing.
Yeah. One other thing, obviously Eddie was asked about Kieran Trippier, who's currently leading the top flight's assists chart. He says, look, it's a brilliant stat for a full-back. He's a guy who will play a lot of creative passes before a goal happens. He's been fundamental to how we work. His leadership skills behind the scenes have been second to none. Yeah, we'll see what his leadership skills are like behind the scenes. When Tonali first came, he went straight to Tonali and, offered his help and everything and said, if you need anything, I'm here. No wonder Bayern Munich wanted him in January, because the guy is quality. He is quality. Yes, he had a bit of a blip before Christmas, when we played Everton and he gave them 2 goals away.
Yeah, well, that was...
And then he had the mistake at Spurs as well. But look, when the guy's on his game, he's quality. Obviously, he had something going on in his life, for whatever reason it is. And, what we think now, it looks like he's sorted it all out. But whatever was going on, obviously affected his game. But, in recent weeks he's been fantastic. Took that goal well against Luton Town. So yeah, and quite rightly so, he's top of the assist chart as well, because he takes every free kick in every corner as well.
I've just managed to pull these stats up, Kev, because as you were saying, Arsenal top set piece goals, excluding penalties in the Prem this season. Arsenal top was 16. Everton 13. Who's joined third, do you think?
If it's us, it's a miracle.
It is us.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, we
It
are
doesn't
third.
seem like it, but
no. If you think back over the season, we had all the controversial one about Shaw. That was a set piece. We had the I'm just off the top of me brain, the Botman into Tonali against Villa. The ball came in, Botman knocked it into Tonali. Dan's got a couple of goals, obviously, my man. Which is why Eddie, that's Eddie's one of his main reasons for sticking with PDB, because he's brilliant at set pieces, both defending and attacking. Lascelles got a couple when he was forced into the side when Botman was out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we've got the Air Force there. It's just that's why Tripp's got his many assists as well, by the way.
But he's got big targets to hit. You know what I mean? He's got big targets. So if you take
and that was why when at Nottingham, when I saw Miggy taking the corner, I said, "Hello, what's going on here? This has got to be off the training pitch, surely." And sure enough, it was. Miggy to trips in, goal. Another one of the set piece goals was scored.
But again, it's gone. Sorry, Tony, go ahead.
Yeah. If anybody's interested, Leeds Leicester, the match at the top of the Championship. Leeds are now winning 2-1.
Bloody hell!
Through, guess what? Wout Faes has scored an own goal. It's come off his leg and went in the back of the net. So Leeds are 2-1 up now, and are now 6 points behind Leicester. But that's been a cracking game, that has.
I wish I could have watched
sorry,
it.
Kevin. Yeah.
No, I was just saying in terms of like Derek's mate, Dan Burn, both defensively and attacking wise. If you play Tino Livramento, you lose height, and from a defensive perspective, so that's essentially why I would change shape slightly. Because then Arsenal are what 16 have scored, Mighty Derek, you said 16 or whatever.
16 set piece this season.
Right. So then you've got
58, by the way.
How many what?
Out of 58.
Yeah, but still, you've got height, you've got dominance with Botman and Cher. So again, that's what I would do. I would go to you could go with like a 3-4-3, or you could go with a 3-5-2, just to have that dominance in both boxes. From in those are the fine margins, but I don't think he will. I don't think Eddie will do that. But that's just me. From both ends in terms of defending free kicks, corners, even potential long throws. He's going to get his noggin on it. He's going to get he's going to put himself in harm's way just to, even if it looks shit and he plays shit, he'll put his body on the line to do what he can for his boyhood club. I don't care if he's a Geordie or not. That's your prerequisite as a defender. That's what you have to do.
Yeah.
But I think it means more to him when it is his boyhood club, and it. I mean, I couldn't imagine if I would give my left arm to play for the club. Anybody would, like you, Tony, and Mighty Win would have done. It means more, especially when you concede, especially when you you have a poor performance. but I think he's effective in both boxes. So that's what I would do. I would change it to a 3, but we'll see what happens in terms of what Eddie decides to do. You know,
I would give me left arm to be ambidextrous.
No.
I mean, no, I'm just figuring it out. I've got kiddos here, and I'm
when we're talking about goalkeepers there, Bias says Mike Mannion, 60 million euros. He's a cracking keeper. He always has been. I rate him highly. He's a very good goalkeeper. That's the AC Milan keeper.
Donnarumma.
But I can't see we're spending that much on a keeper.
Well, not now. Listen, that's what I'm saying. It's not a priority right now. It's not a priority. We need better first team players before we start thinking about a goalie.
Exactly. Hey, lads, I've got to go. I need to make a call for work and stuff, and I'll see you soon, mate.
Yep. Thanks for coming on, Kev. You'll have to come on again, mate.
Absolutely, mate. Anytime. Just let me know.
Cheers, Kevin. See you later, mate.
Right.
Take care. I mean, look, Mike Mannion's a good keeper. Godfather says, will Pope be the same keeper, though? His shoulder's gone twice now. Well, we shall see when he comes back, won't we?
What Pope does is, for whatever reason, he gives that back four confidence. You know, so and that was witnessed by the the defence last season. Again, though, you've got to bear in mind that defence last season was operating behind a fantastic midfield, which we haven't had this season at all.
Yeah. Exactly. Because we've been decimated by injuries.
I would love to have seen how Pope got on. During the period of his, if he'd still been playing, everybody seems to be of the opinion that we wouldn't have conceded as many goals, etc., etc. I'm just not so sure, because that, like, the midfield's like butter, you just.
Yeah. Foxy's in the chat. He makes a very good point here as well. Hi, Foxy, by the way, and he says a keeper that has both Pope's and Dubravka's attributes is Bento from Atletico Paranaense in Brazil. Now, that's where Bruno started his career. Now, I've just looked at Bento, and he's a 24-year-old Brazilian keeper. He's worth 11.5 million euros, according to SofaScore. His strengths are his consistency, reflexes, and his handling. He's got no weaknesses. He started 7 out of 7 games this season, and he has kept, I will tell you, 4 clean sheets in 7 games.
If he's good enough for Foxy, he's good enough for me.
Well, absolutely. And
for 30, whatever it was you said, 11, 13 million, I can't remember.
11.5 million euros. So that's about what, 9 million quid?
10 million quid. It's note.
No. And you've got to get these Brazilians when they're young as well. So 24, he's still young, and he's got a long way to go. And
especially for a keeper, very young for a keeper.
Why not? Give him a shot, give him a go. Why not? Bayern Munich want rid of Dyer, worried about his lack of pace.
Get away! No shit, Sherlock.
Tanji says mistakes are always going to happen this season. We just haven't been able to play the football we are used to last season. Hopefully, we will see some improvement soon until the season ends. And like Tanji said earlier, once we start getting these players back, we might be able to galvanise our season as well.
Absolutely.
Niall says, big up lads, great show, and like and subscribe and share. Cheers, mate, thank you. Colton says, I love the confidence on here, guys. I think we'll beat Arsenal 2-1 tomorrow.
We'll be all right.
Tristan says, problem with that, Tony, is he needs to speak English to run the back line. We don't have a Brazilian at the back or a Portuguese player. Look how long it took Bruno to learn the English language. Not that long. So, if you buy him in the summer, he's got 3 months to learn.
No, but yeah, you're saying that. I mean, look, who's playing in front of Allison? Who's playing in front of Edison?
Exactly. Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any communication problem there.
I mean, yeah, you got the Portuguese in front of him, Ruben Dias, but you got John Stones there as well, haven't you? He was English, and yeah. Foxy says Bento, Brazilian third choice keeper now. He doesn't sound great, but then you realise Edison and Allison are ahead of him, so Bento also speaks English. There you go. And Foxy knows his stuff. Foxy knows his stuff. So,
good old Foxy, get yourself on here soon.
You should do. Yeah, exactly. It'd be great having Foxy on, yeah. But yeah, I mean that sounds a good choice. That even if I got Bento and even if I got Mamardashvili as well, absolutely. There's two keepers.
You just want him because you can see his name, don't you, Tony?
Because I can see his name. Yeah, I can see his name. All right. Yeah. He's not a bad keeper though. He's good for running out as well. So
no, yeah, that's right. Super keeper.
Yeah, he is. Tristan says because Bruno and Allison in New English, as they played in Europe for years. Personally, I'd get Costa. He was one of the first choice before Pope. Nixon wanted him.
But Diego Costa. You aren't necessarily going to learn English playing in France.
No. Diego Costa from Port. Look, I don't think he was that great in the World Cup for Portugal at the time. But if I'm honest, he cost too much money.
It's a whole silly money. It's a whole other show, that, Tony. And as I've said, right, at the risk of repeating myself again and again and again, at the minute, for me, keeper is nowhere near.
No.
Top of our priority for spending money. Nowhere near.
Leeds are now 3-1 up, so they're flying. Looks like Leeds will be back in the Premier League next season as well.
Good.
Tanchi says, question for Derek. I'm disappointed with Longstaff as a player, midfield player who never seems to tackle or be on the ball much. Is this the last season for Sean in the starting 11? Before I let Derek go into that, now let me say, do you know what, Tanji? I would say yes, sell him in the summer. I want him sold in the summer because he's only got a year left on his deal and it also brings in 100% profit for FFP reasons. And if we get £25 million, snap their hands off and take it. That's what I say. Right, the floor's yours now, Derek.
Well, you keep on going on about that 100% profit. It's irrelevant. You know, what we get, we'll get. And that's from any player. So I don't think that's particularly relevant that we're making 100% profit on him.
Well, it is because he's come from our academy.
Yeah, I know. But it doesn't matter whether we sell Sean for 40 million or whether we sell Mickey for 40 million, who didn't come from our academy. We still get that 40 million in the pot.
Yeah.
You know, what's been spent has already been put away in terms of FFP. So the only thing that matters is how much we actually recoup, how much we get in. And as regards Longstaff, I wrote an article for months and months and months. The back end of last season, the start of this season, I used to watch Sean Longstaff with a microscope to try and work out what the heck it was that he did. And I couldn't see it. I just could not see it. And on top of the fact that I couldn't see what he was doing, he was missing chances, chance after chance after chance. However, when he got injured, and all of a sudden The results started going against us. I then thought, you know what it is? Like I said, I don't say it often. I says, I must be wrong here. He must be doing something that I'm too thick to see.
Mm.
And I had to finally acknowledge, and everybody was at the time was saying Sean Longstaff for England. Put him in front of Phillips, put in front of Henderson and all this, and I'm saying, well, I can't. But it must be me that's wrong. Since he's come back from injury, he's been utter rubbish. And without it gets back to our injuries. When J7 and Willock weren't there balancing his inadequacies out on the other side, the show even more. And so whilst I was thinking, well, what he must be doing is letting Bruno go forward, whatever. I am now back to my original belief that he doesn't do it. He'll run all day. He'll do it. It's often quoted he runs 10k a match. I couldn't, but lots of people could run 10k a match and still not be any bloody good for the side. And all of our injuries are highlighting once again to me that Longstaff isn't a player. I'll be watching him if he plays tomorrow. I'll be watching him again, and the number of times I've seen him, he's not a player, and then they've got the ball. He's marking a player, and the ball will get played, and Shaw will run towards the ball fast as you like, looking really energetic to go and try and intercept whatever the player that's got the ball is doing. And they've got a simple pass to the player that he's just left unmarked. Only now that player is 20 yards further up the pitch. The Luton game was typical of that. The space that Barkley was allowed in the Luton game was criminal. And the number of times that you saw Sean and Barkley side by side until the ball started moving, and then suddenly they're 20 yards apart. He hasn't stuck with them. So Barkley's there just to pick the ball up and continue. So I'm sorry to, I might, is it because he's not fit enough yet? I don't know, but I've just about lost patience with Sean, sadly.
Yeah. Yeah,
Who was it who asked that? That was Tangy. That's your answer, Tangy. I don't rate the kid. But I still think we could get good money for him.
Yeah.
Because of his record and his stats and all that. But not for me.
Bia's asking about Kevin Zenin. Is he any good? Because we've been linked, and he's asking Foxy. Just looking at Kevin Zenin, he's a 22-year-old Argentinian left footer. He can play midfield left. He started 14 games and got 1 goal and 3 assists. That was last season. He's just a youngster. So anyway, Foxy has answered.
Foxy,
as he always does. Foxy says Boca only signed him last month, stood out with Union. He's a bit inconsistent so far with Boca, but a very versatile, and he can play both sides defensively and midfield. Would have to pay a release clause though.
Would it be much? Let's have a look. Transfer market.
Well, he's worth 3.7 million euros at the minute.
Well, so we've got to pay a release. Oh well, has it got a release clause there? What you on?
It doesn't show you the release clause. I'm on SofaScore.
Right. We'll look that up for the next time.
Yeah. Tristan says to me, Ramsdale, we could sign, and I'm sorry, keeper is our first choice after Dubravka shipped in goals. Pope 15 games, 13 conceded. Dubravka 10 games, shipped in 27. Big difference in quality.
And how many of those 27 are Dubravka's fault?
Exactly. It's
You
collectively
could, you
because
could
of that.
argue, if you were really pushing the boat out, you could say 4 were his fault. And he's
Yeah,
made 3 times that many saves to keep winning games.
yeah. And then he says Longstaff hates during games. He turns up if he can have a shot, but doesn't defend or carry the ball. Well, if we want to get better, we need one holding player and 2 eights to go forward and create.
I'd be, go back to defending, sure. No, I don't think he hides. I just think he
No,
hasn't got it there. He doesn't know, it's not there. If he had, if Miley had Sean's body, then we would have a player. Then we'd have a Bellingham.
yeah. Colton says we 100% need to replace the left side. Tanji says thanks, Derek, for your explanation on Longstaff. If I was Bruno or a leader like Trippier, I would be screaming at Longstaff. Feel sorry for Bruno doing it all himself.
Yeah, and we're wasting Bruno by him having to do it all himself. But that again,
The release,
that's all down to injuries.
yeah, release clause is 12 to 15 million quid, says Foxy.
Well, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Except that again, we shouldn't be buying players for the future right now. Right now,
No.
we should be buying players who are going to go into that first team and knock current first teamers down onto the bench.
Look
We're
at
not at
Julian
the.
Alvarez, who plays for City. They signed him for 17 million quid.
Mm.
And
And
he's a first teamer now,
how
isn't
long
he?
did he sit on? And by the way, you're now comparing Man City's squad with ours. How long did he sit
No,
on
I'm
the
not.
bench for?
Julian Alvarez. I think he was on the bench for a little bit, but he just kept coming off, and then I think he just. I couldn't tell you how many games he was on the
No,
bench for them.
he's a number 2. He's 2 to Haaland, isn't he?
Well, he can play attacking midfield as well, so he's pretty much spot on that way. But I mean, all I'm saying is it just shows you you can get bargains from abroad. That's what I'm saying, especially from the South American leagues as well. You can get
Yeah.
them, you can get them bargains.
I would far rather be spending proper money on proper players who we know can do a job. At the minute, at this moment in our evolution, that's what we need. That's what we should have done in the summer. Well, to be fair,
Yeah.
we did do it in the summer. We went and got Tonali and Barnes to improve the team that finished 4th last year, and they've both been effectively unavailable all season. Okay, Barnes has just come back, and we had Tonali. Well, we had we had them both in the team. We beat Villa 5-1. We should have beat City.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got the 3 injuries, and Brighton turned over. And it's been downhill from there ever since. Botman got injured.
Colton says Bruno and Joe Linton will be speaking Geordie when they go and play for Brazil.
Way high, man.
Absolutely. Definitely. Alan says, I watched the press conference, but it doesn't look like they are in any hurry to replace Ashworth. Hope Willock and Isak is back tomorrow. House sounded positive. Yeah, I mean, look, Eddie Howe's not going to really know much about who's coming in as a director of football or whatever's going on behind the scenes because he's not a director or anything. So Eddie Howe's just there to manage the team. So I'm sure, and plus he won't want to let anything out the bag because why would you want to go out there and say, oh, by the way, we're after such and such.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden that means other teams can go, oh, hang on, Newcastle want him. Let us nip in before them and get him. So, that's why. And that's why people say, oh, well, why does Eddie Howe keep saying, oh, FFP and we haven't got we haven't got the money. And it's like any manager. It could be the manager of Wrexham. It could be, the manager of Wrexham, I'm sure he says the same thing. I'm sure he sits there and says, oh, no, no manager releases what budget they've got for spending because why would they? Because as soon as a manager would say, oh, yeah, we've got 100 million to spend, the clubs will say, right, okay, when Newcastle come calling, boom, slap the fee up. And that's why a manager never gives away a budget.
Yep, I'll make you right.
Tristan says director of football job is to safeguard the future of the club, and they do have a CEO saying yes, the manager can tell them what position they want, but it's their job to find the best player suited to the system. That's fair enough. What's Foxy saying there? Yeah, City signed Alvarez and he returned to River on loan, similar to the Echeverry deal for the rest of the season. Tristan says, Tito, that's where we agree. We should put our first team on the bench.
What?
Our first team on the bench or replace with quality, so there's a good rotation of quality. It's not about what you spend, it's about identifying quality.
I think that's the first time Tristan's ever agreed with me.
Well, there you are. So, see? Miracles do happen, don't they? Absolutely. But yeah. Well said, Tristan. Well said. Yeah. And another thing Eddie was asked as well was about the I'm trying to break the top six. He says, look, we're desperate. We're trying to close the gap on the teams above us. We've got to be motivated for it. Hopefully the confidence is returning. We have a big challenge against Arsenal. We want to win, and we will do everything in our power to win. So basically what Eddie's saying is, if we want top six, we better get our asses into gear and start playing and getting up there. Hopefully, like somebody said earlier on, you know, getting these injured players back might galvanise our season. So, you know, let's hope it does. But it's going to be interesting tomorrow, the match. You know, and I always have a look and see what the betting odds are for tomorrow. If anybody who fancies putting a daft pound on a flutter or whatever, I mean, you never know. I was fortunate last week. I cashed out before, you know, when we were 1-1 with Bournemouth, and then Bournemouth, I think, did Bournemouth score? Yes, Bournemouth scored, and then I cashed out because I thought, oh, I'm going to cash out here because we might sneak a draw here, and then I'll not win some. So I cashed out, and it actually made a bit of sense cashing out in hand. So it did really help me. So I was pleased I did that. Let's have a look at the odds for the match
You're going to have
tomorrow.
to tell me what side you're on when you can cash out and be in front when the result's going against what you bet on. That's a good side.
That's Sky Bet, but I had Gordon down to score, which he scored. No, sorry, I'll tell you what it was. No, in fact, we weren't down. It was 1-1 at the time. That's right. And it was just before, and the commentator says, oh, Harvey Barnes is going to be substituted. So that's right, because I had Harvey Barnes down to score or assist. That's what it was. And I cashed out. I thought I'll cash out before he goes off the pitch, before Sky suspended, so you can't cash out. So I went, boom, boom, cash out. Thank you very much, Sky. That's what it was. It wasn't when we went behind. Sorry, I just realised. So tomorrow,
that would be a brilliant betting side. That way you can cash out when you're losing.
Yeah.
You know, cash out in front.
Yeah. Arsenal 3-10 to win tomorrow, 9-2 for the draw, 15-2 for Newcastle to win. If you want an early payout when the team's 2 up, Arsenal 2-7, 19-4 for the draw, 6-1 for Newcastle. Goal scorers: Bukayo Saka, first goal 9-2. And for us, Anthony Gordon is 16-1. Alexander Isak 9-1 for first goal scorer. If you want to put on an outsider, Dan Burn for the first goal is 50-1 or 20-1 any time.
That's where I'll be.
Burn. That's where Derek will be.
If he plays, Dan Burn gets the winner from a set piece.
Yeah.
By the way, there's a very famous stat in sort of gambling circles, which is Premiership teams since the Premiership started. If you had a single bet on every team which has started 6-1 or bigger, you'd be like literally thousands in front by now.
Right, Derek. So you want your score prediction is Newcastle win 1-0 and Dan Burn to score. Am I correct?
Correct.
Right. So if you put that on a build a bet, Derek,
Mm-hmm.
your odds would be 325 to 1. So you put a quid on, you get 325
Yeah.
pound back plus
I
your
mean,
pound.
I
So
want to
320.
make sure he's playing first.
That's not bad. I mean, for us to win 1-0
I
tomorrow,
put my
it's
football
22
bets
to
on, my
1.
Newcastle bets on after the team's been announced.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But that's not a bad bet, though, is it? 325 to 1, is it?
Yeah. It's not
Just
very
put a
often
daft pound on
scorecards
it.
come up. Yeah.
No,
It's like,
no.
who was it?
Yeah.
Brazil said England went at the South Africa World Cup. England are 10 to 1 to win the World Cup. For those of you who don't understand football betting, what it means is if you put £10 on England to win the World Cup, you lose £10.
Oh, it is brilliant, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant. Tanji says, back in the day when Sir Bobby was in charge, we went to Highbury against the Invincibles and won 3-1. Had a tenner on that 100 to 1. Yeah, that was
Lauren
brilliant, that game,
Robert,
wasn't it?
Lauren
Yes, Laurent
Robert,
Robert, what a player.
Shearer penalty, and that
Was it
may
Genius?
no. Why am I thinking Scott Sellers? Was that when the Hugh when Hugh scored and we won 3-1? I don't know anyway. But the last time we beat them, Shearer got a penalty and Robert scored the last one.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I remember that game because, like I say, I mean, in Robert,
One of my favourite
what a
players of
wonderful
all
left
time.
foot he had. What a
Oh,
wonderful left foot he had.
I would take Robert. This will start the folk. I would take Robert over Ginola every day of the week.
Oh, yes. I thought Robert when Robert hit a shot, it stayed hit.
Right? No. If
And
you look at
no.
there's a compilation of his goals on. He scored 32 goals. There's a compilation of them on YouTube somewhere. It's fantastic.
There you go.
I saw
2001 it
every one
was.
of them.
It was 2001. We'd gone top of the Premier League with our first win in London for 4 years. We came from behind to beat Arsenal by 2 clear goals at Highbury when we got a big helping hand from Graham Paul, the referee. He sent Ray Parler off at the end of the first half as we got a controversial penalty with 5 minutes to go. Perez gave the Gunners the lead, so they are Robert Perez.
Right?
And then it's goals from Andy O'Brien, Alan Shearer, and
Andy
Laurent Robert
O'Brien,
in
that was
charge.
the
We
one.
won.
Right.
And we had Bellamy sent off as well.
Right.
And Robson called the victory the best early Christmas present I've had for many, many years.
Yeah.
But yeah, there we go. So yeah, that was it. Yeah, it was Andy O'Brien. I don't know why I thought you mean Genius, but it was Andy O'Brien. But in our team that day, this is our lineup that day against Arsenal. Shea Given, Aaron Hughes, Andy O'Brien, Nico Dabizas, Robbie Elliott, Kieran Dyer, Nobby Solano, Olivia Bernard, Gary Speed, bless him, Alan Shearer, Craig Bellamy. Subs, Steve Harper, Lamona Lua, Jamie McLean, Sylvain Distan, and
Jamie
Robert.
McLean, who here?
Yeah, and Arsenal's lineup that day was Taylor and goal, Lauren, Saul Campbell, Martin Keown, Ashley Cole, Robert Perez, Ray Parla, Patrick Vieira, Thierry Henry, Canu, and Viltord. Their subs were Bergkamp, Van Bronckhorst, Grimandi, Matthew Upson, and Stack, the keeper.
Not a bad team, eh?
Not a bad team at all.
Ollie Bernard.
Highbury was a lovely ground. It was a lovely ground, Highbury, wasn't it?
Proper ground, proper football ground.
Yeah. Tanji says 2-1 to us, 22-1, 3-1 to us is 50-1, 3-0 for 100-1 for tomorrow night. Yeah, if you do gamble responsibly, guys. And when the fun stops, make sure you stop as well. Don't chase your losses. Andy O'Brien, yeah. Do you know what? He wasn't a bad centre half. I liked Andy O'Brien.
Well, he was crap.
And Andy's put, well, you know, Andy O'Brien's good because he put the ball in the back of that Mackin's net.
Yeah, absolutely. Andy O'Brien, Liam O'Brien, Andy O'Brien.
Yeah.
Who put the ball in the Mackin's net? O'Brien.
Absolutely. Colton says, I'm off now. Take care, everyone. Have we the lads for tomorrow? Yeah, absolutely, Colton. Definitely, mate. And let's hope so, mate. And was one of the best against one of the best Arsenal teams. Absolutely, Tanji. I mean, I'll never forget that goal Bergkamp scored at St James's Park. What a goal that was.
Nobody's ever going to tell me he meant that. The only good thing about that goal was his reactions when he saw what had happened. You know, when he flicked it behind Davi's ass, and he was lightning quick to react and finished it off. But there's no way. I don't care what anybody says. He did not intend to backheel that around Davi's ass. No way on earth. But he was very quick to react.
Foxy says we should have made Distan a permanent deal at that time. We should have. He was a hell of a defender, wasn't he? The French lad.
I wasn't. I wasn't a massive fan, to be honest.
Tanji says, when the stops put a tenner on Sunderland to get beat.
Well, they're in the doldrums now. Oh dear.
Julie says, I like Davi's ass.
Davi's ass. He was my man. I loved him.
I like when he scored against Sun. He took his shirt off, didn't he? Well, guys, we've come to the end of the show, but it's been, do you know what? It's been another cracking show again, and it was great having Kevin on as well, and we'll get him on again. But yeah, so I'm still going for a 1-1 draw tomorrow. If we win, I'll be bloody ecstatic if we win. If we get a draw, I'll be happy with that because it's a positive. We've got a point. So, you know, whether it's a point or 3 points.
In the Prem. Anyway, a point in the Prem's a good point.
And if we do get a point tomorrow, we've took 4 out of 6 points off Arsenal this season. After the controversial winner, you know, as they keep going on about, and, you know, they keep bringing it up. And, you know, but as I say, hopefully tomorrow, we see this picture again tomorrow of Arteta having another whinge and another meltdown as well. So we'll see what happens with that one. Everybody's favourite picture, that. Goma was good too, but ended up with Fulham. Says Tanji, 4-0 to them, but hope I'm wrong, says Julie. Let's hope so, Julie, let's hope so. Tanji says we've got 8 points out of our last 12, so our form isn't abysmal. No, absolutely not, Tanji, not at all. You know, against the likes of Luton and Bournemouth, we should have been beating them, in all honesty. But, you know, we just have to improve our performances. Like Tanji says, the performances.
We've just got to get some bodies back. That's all we've got to do. Get some bodies onto that bench.
Yeah. You know, once we've got the likes of Anderson back as well, and, you know, it's all going to help at the end of the day. We're going to have that little bit extra strength and depth, and that's what we need. But let's hope. I mean, look, let's hope we go to Arsenal tomorrow, and we, you know, everybody might have us down to get beat. Even Paul Merson says we'll get a hammering tomorrow. You know, but that's because he's an ex-Smoggy as well as an ex-Gunner, so we take no notice of what he's got to say. All we do is we go down there, as long as we put in a performance. And look, even if we didn't win the game and we lost it, but as long as we put in a performance that makes the lads proud and makes the fans proud, and we can say at least we've tried, then I'm happy with that. But we're
Me
not
too.
going down there for a loss. We're going down there for either a draw or a win.
Yeah,
Great show, guys, says Ian. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. But as I always say, remember, the future's bright. The future is definitely black and white. And Tanji says, one question before we finish. Yeah, what is that, Tanji? Do let us know.
How are the lads?
He's probably busy typing at the minute, Tanji. Like, oh, yeah. But, no, I mean, look, we've got to go down there and be optimistic and try and get something out of the game. Good night, everyone, says Julian. Take care, you too, Julie.
I think Tangy's keyboard's dried up. Oh, yeah,
yeah, we are. He says, we complain about the media cartel, etc., but what about our UFC YouTube channels escalating it? I mean, yeah, look. I mean, if somebody's out there saying something wrong in the media, I tend not to give them too much airtime because, look, they just thrive on this airtime. If it's been reported, then I'll mention it, but that's as far as it goes. But I don't like go over the top like some channels do. You know, some channels put out there like media muppets and things like that. You know, some of the media deserve a slating because a lot of them are anti-Newcastle. But you know what? Do you know what's the best way to shut these people up? The best way to shut them up is by us doing everything against what they want to see. And as long as if we go out there, if we start going out there and winning trophies and things like that, that will shut them up because they won't like that. They won't like that. And that's what they don't want to see us doing. They don't want us to succeed. But when we do start succeeding, they'll have nothing to say because they'll not know what to say. Because if they do start saying things, they're hypocrites at the end of the day. And Tanji says, silence is golden. You know, media cartel have spies. Absolutely, Tanji. They do watch all these channels. And look, as I say, some channels do give them a little bit extra airtime than they should get. I tend not to. Okay, if something's put out there negatively, I'll say this is what they've said, but then we'll quickly move on. What about you, Derek? Do you agree with that?
Well, you know, there's no doubt at all that Newcastle United are not the media's darling, and especially since the takeover, that's ramped it up even more. But I couldn't give a toss what to say, to be honest. Couldn't give a toss.
No. We'll do our talking on that football pitch. That's what we do.
That's exactly right.
But yeah, so thank you to everybody for watching tonight. It's been a great show. And as I say, don't forget to hit the like button. If you've enjoyed the channel, then please do smash the like. It does help the channel. And also, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe as well. Till then,
get it hit.
Goodbye from me. Yeah, get it hit. Absolutely. How are the lads?
How are the lads?